crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. Good morning, Horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. A couple things I want to talk about. I want to talk about this discussion with Snippy and my friend Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic. Is it 2 or 3 or 7? What? 3. Beyond Mystic 3. Go sign up for his channel. He gets kicked off YouTube a lot because he can't help himself talk about things that are important to everybody and should be important to everybody. But before we get to that, I don't know if I've told you guys before, when you start diving into the spiritual world, your sleep gets disrupted around between 2 and 4 in the morning. They call it the witching hour or whatever it is. I wake up almost every day at 3, every evening at 3. I start writing down my thoughts. Last night, for some reason, I was writing down thoughts about how to start your own community. Because I know we're coming into a place where I'm like, there'll be no deciders, except you get to decide what you want your future to be. Because no one will have the moral authority to say, hey, here's what our system's going to be like. Here's how we implement GESRA or NESRA or the quantum financial system. There will be no authority. Nobody will look up to anybody. No one will trust anybody. When trust is gone, it's gone. It can only be earned back, and there's not enough time to earn back trust to say, this is how our monetary system will be going forward for the best of mankind. It's not going to work that way. It can't work that way. As a matter of fact, in the Road to Rooted Teacher's Guide, that's exactly what they say. What if the people don't accept gold as money? What if the people don't accept the colored flowers type of thing? It is a rabbit hole you go down when you start thinking about this because you want so bad for there to be a system in place that you can go to. And the problem with systems that are set up for humanity is it takes hundreds of and thousands of years for all these things to come into place to end up where you are today. All that's going to be thrown away. And then we're not going to trust anybody. We're not going to trust our government, obviously. Obviously, we're not going to trust the Federal Reserve System, the U.S. Treasury, the IMF, the World Bank. None of that will be trusted. Trust is a fickle thing. When trust is gone, it's pretty much gone for good, and you have to trust somebody else, or they have to earn your trust back. And I don't see these criminal banksters even attempting to earn our trust back. Nor do I see anybody in government trying to earn our trust back. Maybe the T word, but highly doubtful. It's so polarizing. We needed that bull in the china shop at the time, and that time is now over. And so we are headed into a place where we're not going to trust anybody. So it's going to be up to us to set up local communities, things like that. So, I mean, for some reason, I woke up at 3 last night, and I was thinking of that. I was thinking of, okay, if I get to create my own community and the people around me and, locals and things like that, how do you start something like that? And how do you do it? How do you make it happen? And mainly for me, it was out of necessity. What will we use as money in the future? It'll be whatever we have out of necessity. I think, the Federal Reserve notes will work for a little while because as the banks get destroyed, all of a sudden you got nothing, and you got the change in your pocket comes from the U.S. Treasury. It's different than Federal Reserve notes. But at the same time, nobody will know. You can't teach someone monetary history and the need for a sound monetary system overnight in the middle of chaos. So they'll be sticking with the old things, which is paper dollars, change, that type of stuff. But also there'll be a renaissance of other things to use as money, like cryptocurrencies. Is going to be huge, gigantic. Probably all of them at the beginning, and then the regulators will try to get in. If there are, I don't even think there'll be regulators. So it's very difficult. Anyway, I started my little town in my head, and it's called Fairview. Welcome to Fairview. I was going to call it Fairview, California, but I don't even know if California is going to, hold together. So I just said, welcome to Fairview. And the first thing, I don't know why, but the first thing I thought of was, how you set it up. You start with the education system. We're indoctrinating our kids to believe what the bad guys want us to our children to believe going forward, that they have no power, that you trust in the history that you're being taught. And the first thing I say, okay, it's going to be a school, and then it's going to be, what will we teach in that school? And for me, the number one thing for teaching in a school is finance and money. That was always number one. And I always wondered why they don't teach that in grammar school or middle school or high school or even college, the truth about finance and money. It's because they were trying to hide it from us. But now in Fairview, the world's going to be different. So there will be a class on how finance and money and the evils of fiat money, unbacked fiat money. Well, I don't like the word backed because that implies that there's trust, that something is behind the phony pieces of paper, things like that. So fiat money ordained by government or people, that's going to go away. Everything's got to be decentralized because trust is going to be gone. So there'll be classes in Fairview about cryptocurrencies, what's a good one, what's a bad one, what's centralization, what's decentralizations, which ones should be centralized and which ones should not be centralized. I don't think any cryptocurrency to be used as a form of currency should be centralized. No one should be in charge of your money. That's the problem we're in right now. And so obviously gold and silver will have a role. I think silver will be way too valuable to be used as money. I think it'll go 1-to-1 with gold, probably even 1-to-10 with gold. Because there's so much gold out there, nobody ever factors that in. There's at least 10 times the amount they say. They say there's 200,000 tons. It's ever been mined. It's more like 2 million tons plus. And I think the plus could be as high as 10 million tons. Of course, there's hundreds of millions, thousands, tens of thousands of millions of tons in the sun itself. And we do have coronal mass ejections of gold that have been recorded in the past. Massive amounts of gold. Gold is always emitting particles, and a lot of that, some of that is gold, and sometimes it reaches Earth. And that's how gold is formed on the planet. Anyway, that's a different story. Anyway, so we will have classes in Fairview from a very young age to teach about money. And why don't they teach us, the evils of credit and getting yourself in debt and how to use a credit card and why you should pay it off every month and things like that. Why don't they teach that to young kids? Because that's one of the most important things you learn. Because they want to get you in debt slavery. And then the power of compound interest. Things like that are not being taught in regular schools, but they will be taught in Fairview. Some of the other things I wanted to make sure that was taught in school, spirituality. Spirituality has been hidden. Did a great discussion with Paige yesterday on fluoride. And they put fluoride in the waters to block our pineal gland, which is our connection to the spiritual world. And it's amazing. Wait till you guys see this one. This will be on the private road, Page Unfiltered, because it's not allowed to be discussed on YouTube. But it's amazing that they are still putting fluoride in water and they're putting it in food, and it's all over the place, trying to block the spirituality that you should be experiencing every day. So wait on that one. We should teach government in school. What's the best way to govern people? They teach a little bit about it, but not very much. If you go back in like the 1920s, 1930s, they taught government all the time and the need for freedom and liberty and the Constitution and all that. That needs to be taught to every school kid as well as everybody. Now, all this needs to be taught to humanity because we basically never went to school. None of us went to school about things that are important. We need to be re-educated. So I guess that's the point in Fairview, is to re-educate. And I'm not saying I know the truth. I'm saying we should be teaching the truth, whatever that truth is. And let's get to the truth. And number 4 was history. We need to teach everybody what the real history of human beings and our interactions with other beings, and who built the pyramids and which pyramids. How is it that there's, I don't even know, I think someone said it was 666,000 pyramids that were built around the same time, including in Mexico and Peru. I've been to Machu Picchu. They can't build that. We can't build that today. Fly these rocks if we had heavy lift helicopters flying these gigantic rocks to the top of a mountain to build a city of unbelievable beauty and spirituality, we can't do it today. How do they do it? Whatever they say 10,000 years ago. It's just ridiculous and stupid that we believe that, but that's what we were indoctrinated with. That's what we were taught. So our history is much different than what we know. And then, so that's 4 classes. I'm going to give us 6 classes in Fairview. I'm going to stop. These are the ones I wrote down last night. Number 5 is community. How important is your community to you, and how do you want it structured? Can you build a governing body that preserves free will? And does it take a community to live these days? Probably, it absolutely does. Some kind of community. Because all this stuff can't be mandated. We can't force doctors to work for free and offer free health care. We can't force anybody to do anything if you have free will. You got to want to do it for you to do it. So it's going to be really complicated to live in Fairview. Actually, it won't be. It'll be human nature to help people, those who have that kind of nature in them. And there'll be a lot of need for help. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Remember, Fairview has no debt. The United States will have no debt. You will have no debt. There will be no debt in the future because the derivative complex will wipe out all the debt. It's how we build and move forward that Fairview is dealing with. And then finally, a very important class on health and wellness. After talking to Paige about fluoride, it's crazy. It's crazy. You just want to detox your body after thinking about how much we are being attacked. Not just the jab stuff, but in everything we do, in the air we breathe, and the water we drink. The water we drink. Even the bottled water, checking, it has fluoride in it. Most of them have fluoride in it. It's insane. They used to use fluoride to dumb down the cattle and in the herds. And that's what they're doing to us. And there is no reason. And there are regulators who regulate this and mandate that, oh yeah, you have to put fluoride in this stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. We need to take out more problems with regulators. Paige went into deep discussion on that. I will be posting that probably today or tomorrow. It's a really good discussion on the private road at Road to Ruta. All right, so I listened to the Jay Snip and Jean-Claude, and the vast majority of it was talking about the good guys. Me and Snippy have gone back. Me and Snippy love each other. Don't get us wrong. We just disagree on things, and we forcefully voice our opinions on what was going on. I remember when I'm the first to admit that I was massively overreacting to what was going on with sickness in the early days, because it was all over Eclipse data that everybody's going to die, type of thing. And that's what, if you just read the newspapers, that's what was going on. But Snippy was like, no, and he was right. I admit it. But he also, with me, was, there's no good guys, and he remembers this. And he even came out on a video and said, fine, Bix, you're right, there are good guys. And now he's gone completely flip-flopped the other way, and he's like, good guys are taking care of it all. And yeah, they probably are. But at the same time, remember, you're going to have to start your own community. Call it what you want. Mine's called Fairview. I don't even know where that came from, but I like the concept, the Fairview of, and it will be my own community that I talk about from now on, how to structure, because there's a lot to do in Fairview. When you're starting from scratch, and it's like Penny Kelly when she's talking about we create our own reality. We really can, and we really will. I'd like to get a little head start, and I'm going to talk about it on the road to life in Fairview. All right. So great discussion. Go check that out on Jean-Claude's. And they're right. I've been talking about this since 2007 when I found the Road to Ruta documents. There are people behind the scenes working to kick out the bad guys, and I'm not so sure that they, have everything under control as far as where we go forward. They can easily take out the bad guys now. I think that battle is over. But it's, what do we do going forward? If you don't trust in your government, you don't trust in your monetary system, when trust is gone, how do we move forward? That's the difficult thing. And that's the thing on the Road to Ruta that the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston never, they talk about it, in the teacher's guide asks over 35 questions. Things like, will people accept the new monetary system? Will we trade with other countries? The answer in the Road to Ruta documents is no. No, we will not be trading with other countries. That globalism will end when the bad guys are taken out. So just keep that in mind. And how will that affect everything? We won't have a lot of the things that we have now. We're already starting to see that, as a matter of fact. I don't think I'm ever going to get my RV, which is supposed to, now it went from the end of August to the end of September. It was originally supposed to be delivered in April. And this is from Winnebago, directly from Winnebago. It's a brand new RV that they were coming out with, and April delivery. And I delivered it almost a year ago now. I mean, I ordered it almost a year ago. And still nothing. And it keeps getting pushed back because they can't get the parts. And that's the end of globalism is happening as we speak. All right, I want to talk about this real quick. Homeland Security issued another terrorism threat to U.S. homeland. They always do this around 9/11, but I think this is a much bigger one. I do think the 20th anniversary is bigger. I think a lot of truths will come out that haven't been talked about. Anyway, it says the Secretary of Homeland Security has issued a new National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin regarding the current heightened threat environment across the United States. The Homeland continues to face a diverse and challenging threat environment leading up to and following the 20th anniversary of September 11th attacks, as well as religious holidays we assess could serve as a catalyst for acts of targeted violence. These threats include those posted by domestic terrorists, individuals and groups engaged in grievance-based violence. What if the grievance-based violence is from our own citizens against our own government, who was knee-deep in 9/11? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to roadtoruta.com, go to the resources section, right up here, resources, click on educational resources, and then there's a bunch of great articles, but go down to about halfway down is collateral damage, U.S. covert operations and terrorism attacks on September 11th. There's 3 articles there. I believe they're written by the ONI, the Office of Naval Intelligence. They are anonymous, but they outline everything you need to know about why it was done, how it was done, and who did it. This is not a secret anymore. And I think this 9/11 is going to be revelations about that. So this terrorist alert is really about you being the terrorist. Because you're going to be so angry at what they did to your freedoms and liberties. That was the key, is to take away our freedom and take away our liberty was a key component, along with a lot of the gold transactions that were supposed to be settled on September 12th. There's a lot that goes into 9/11. And that was the gold that was used to destroy the Soviet Union. So it's very complicated. Yes, Russia's going to be very pissed at us. The whole world will be pissed at us, knowing it was an FF. And if you know what an FF is, anyway. Yeah, a lot of people have dug down. But now they're even talking about it in the media that maybe it wasn't 19 hijackers. So yeah, of course they're saying, beware of the Taliban. They're going to come get us on 9/11. And this is what the Taliban are doing. They're having ice cream. Taliban sent Joe Biden a message Tuesday by posting for a photograph, which later ended up on Twitter showing fighters holding ice cream cones. We all know Joe Biden and his ice cream. They're mocking the kind of president, or whatever you want to call him. So yeah, these are the guys they want you to be afraid of right there. No. You don't be afraid of those guys. You be afraid of these guys. Homeland Security. And your government. So keep that in mind. All right, let's talk about silver. They're slamming silver again. I bought silver 2 days ago. I'm going to buy more silver. Anytime I can scrape some pennies off the ground. Silver is the most calming investment of your life. You get silver, you tuck it away, and you just sit there and know that during the breakdown of the old system, silver is the most important investment, I believe. It survives all. If everything breaks down, there's no more technology, silver used in technology, silver will instantly return to being used as money. And vice versa. If everything goes smoothly, then technology is going to boom in our high-tech future, and silver will be needed everywhere. With the Internet of Things, that means you need a little bit of silver everywhere. And that's, I think, where this world is going. So yes, get your silver. The bad guys, a little background. What's happening right now, the COMEX, I would say 99.9% of the trades that happen on the COMEX are banks trading back and forth with each other using Virtu Financial, the high-frequency trading company that has been involved, highly involved with all this market rigging. But remember, the COMEX is where the bankers play. You don't, truthfully, and people just, even long-time silver bugs have never taken delivery of a COMEX contract. It just doesn't happen for whatever reason, unless you're like a big money monster like Warren Buffett or the Hunt brothers or J.P. Morgan, who bought over 1 billion ounces and holds, who knows how much they hold now, but they're the only ones supplying silver. And the reason you can know that is you go to the delivery area and you go to, this is the COMEX deliveries. This month, 2,000, it's an off month. Next month is a big delivery month. Do I think we'll go through the whole month without some kind of chaos? No, not at all. I don't think we're even going to last through September in silver. But having said that, there's only one place that has silver, and it's the place that every month all the silver comes out of, right here, or vast majority, J.P. Morgan Chase. They delivered 16. Now, this is not J.P. Morgan's house account. That they've been told to stand down, and they have stood down since they leveled those charges on them for the RICO charges, which would have destroyed the biggest bank in the world and the entire financial system. But they have stood down, but they are just literally bleeding out of their customer accounts because basically they said, okay, we'll stand down, but we'll get the other banks to be our customers. And they can easily shift paper back and forth between each other. But again, this month, 1656 contracts delivered by J.P. Morgan out of a total of 2,000. So what is that? 80% of the silver that's being delivered comes out of one warehouse and one entity, the quote customers of J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan is the last bastion of criminality within silver, and they are working with Citibank. They're working with HSBC. They're working with Bank of America now. Bank of America is leasing massive amounts of physical silver. It was Ginny Moonstone had identified they're going to try a new type of game. That's what the game is. It's an old game, but it kind of ended with the destruction of Barrick Gold. Barrick Gold was a gold company that was set up to launder Yamasha's gold coming out of Asia and launder all kinds of gold. It wasn't a real mining company. They had some mining operations, but it was the largest mining company in the world back in the early 2000s, and they were basically laundering gold, melting it down, saying, "Oh yeah, this is mined gold that we have," and it wasn't. You knew that because you had George Bush on the board and Schultz on the board and all these criminal politicians on the board. And if you read these 3 documents on the road to root about 9/11, you'll make the connections for the investigations into gold rigging was being done at the Office of Naval Intelligence in Building 7 of the World Trade Center, and right where the Pentagon got nailed. That was the Office of the O&I. It all fits together perfectly, and it's easy to see once you dive in and do a little research. Okay, let's take a look at cryptos being pushed back right now. Again, all controlled. I think in the chaos, who knows? That's why you have to keep them in your own possession. I know in the Snippy discussion with JC, they're talking about buying the crash. Yeah, if you could buy the crash, congratulations. The problem, there's a couple problems. One is when these big crashes happen, the final crash, you can't buy anything because all the exchanges shut down for maintenance because they got to get the coins that they don't have, that type of thing. But at the same time, you're going to have to keep your treasure with the bad guys. And this big crash is going to be a big one. I don't think any any of the exchanges will survive it. Meaning Coinbase is not going to survive it. Meaning Kraken's not going to survive it. Binance is not going to survive the crash of the banking system, because they all have to deal with banks as well. And even if they don't, they're not going to let you have those cryptos. They're going to take the money and run. So in order to trade and catch the bottom, you're going to have to give them your coins. And good luck with that. I'm still in that goddamn Mt. Gox bankruptcy. I have one Bitcoin. It's been whittled down. I heard it was like $3,000 now it's worth. That's how much. I think it's been 8 years, something crazy, 7 years. And they keep, selling off Bitcoin to pay for legal expenses and shit like that. It's just ridiculous. They used that Bitcoin to slam the price down after 2007, 2008. When Bitcoin was going up big, they used the Mt. Gox Bitcoin and sold it off at the perfect time to slam the market down from, to stop it from going crazy. It went up to 20 and they slammed it down to like 4. That's how criminal these people are. And they admitted it. Chris Giancarlo, the head of the CFTC, a regulator in the United States, even admitted that that's what they did. Trump and Chris Giancarlo, Steve Mnuchin, and the gang. Anyway, the only thing you can do now is pray to God that you have your assets still in your possession after the crash. And the only way to do that is to get your assets in your own possession now. Don't worry about buying the bottoms of anything, because if a third party, it's all about third party control now. And if you have any third party between you and your asset, you can kiss it goodbye when the crash happens, if there is a crash, whatever happens. So that's my take. My number one crypto investment by far is Theta and Theta Fuel. I love them both. Theta is up to 66% staked. It's going to 99.9% staked. What would the price of the very last Theta be if 100% of Theta were staked? The criminal exchanges won't be trading it because it's too obvious. If only one Theta was out there, all the rest are staked. It won't get that close, but it could very easily get into the 90% range, because people want to earn Theta Fuel and all the Theta Fuel. The Theta Fuel staking has gone up to 43% now, and that's going to continue to run. You can make more money staking Theta Fuel because it's only 43% is staked, so you're getting a bigger pool. So yes, definitely get your Theta. Definitely get your Theta Fuel. Get them in your own possession. Stake them through Gpool on the road to Ruta. We teach you how to do that on the Theta page, on the private road. That's private road. So that's what I got for you today. Interesting times. Welcome to Fairview. I'll be talking about Fairview for a while now. Just even though I doubt I'll ever construct this town, maybe, I don't know. I think it'll be useful to people to hear about what I'm thinking about as far as, spiritual. I'm being told to think about this stuff. And I think it's important for our future that you start thinking about your community and how you're going to structure your community, your new community. Because I think we get a chance to build it from scratch, which will be really exciting. After the crash, after all the bullshit. So that's where we are. This is Bix Weir coming to you from Fairview. I'll talk to you guys later.